you.
Okay, everybody, okay. Today is June 18, 2025. My name is Cesar York. I'm the chairperson of the Environmental Justice and Sanitation Committee. So we are going to first look over the agenda, right? Right? Look over the agenda. Everybody get a piece of paper. Look at the agenda. If you have anything that's changing the agenda or add, we could do that. Okay. So, yeah. Everybody saw it?
I see the agenda. We're going to, it's been called to order about the introduction.
Okay, so now we're going to do introductions. So, just the name and what you like to do in the summer. Start here.
Okay. Hello, everyone. John Sanchez, secretary for this committee. And what I like to do in the summer is I like to make money in the summer, work any jobs that I can to make extra cash, and work on my personal skills.
Very good. Hi, everybody. My name is Argelia Ortiz, and I am a board member here. And what do I like to do in the summer?
Yes.
I like to stay in an air-conditioned place in the summer. Thank God for the air conditioner. Next.
My name is Haley Miranda. I'm a youth team leader at We Say Nos Quedamos, and I like to sleep in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Not sleep.
All day. All day.
Summer's only 2 months. I'm sorry, Diana Leonard. I'm a community associate. And this summer, I want to be outside. Usually during the summertime, I go see my aunts in Puerto Rico, but no, I'm going to be here in the South Bronx with the events and stuff. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Gracias.
For me, what would I do in the summer? I want to watch more movies like in Bryant Park.
Nice.
You just sit there, relax, no liquor because I can't drink liquor anyway. So, a lot of water, and then watch some. Hopefully, they have some great movies.
Yeah.
So do that, and the other one just goes like natural places. We have a lot of trees.
Mm-hmm.
Get the wind, get the natural,
Yeah.
air stuff.
I'm with you, Cesar.
Okay, so the first one, I'm gonna just quickly go over this here. Future cleanups. And we had a cleanup a couple of months ago. You went relatively fine in the other places. For my place, we had some issues, but we learned from that, and now we know what to do next. So what to fix, things like that. And the other two places went very well. So the one that San Bros Nine had, there were over 60 people there. They cleaned up that area. Actually, they said they didn't need to clean up that much in the park because there were so many people. They did it probably like a couple of minutes.
Mm.
And then he had AOC staff. They did the other site. That went okay. Our site went pretty well. Regarding the cleanup, we all cleaned the place up. So it was. But then the only issue was like he got trashed. It was like about an hour later. So based on that experience, we're trying to have a cleanup in September. Before it gets cold, right? Most likely it might be in October because right now we're not gonna be here for a couple of months. So we come back in September. So, but the idea is to instead of having 3 different sites, we just go for Willis Avenue, like 138th Street. You get probably 10 people, it just goes straight down to Roberto Clemente Square here and just clean on that site. You could have a group that goes from 138th Street all the way to Roberto Clemente Square, or you could have another group that goes focusing on Roberto Clemente Square. Do that. That's the idea. Instead of having 3 different organizations, 3 different sites, you can kind of very, very cumbersome. We have many different things happening at the same time. So try to make it more easier.
Mhm.
And then the idea was to have food, have the same people do food, and then have a DJ. Spoke to Stephanie, from she's in the youth committee. She has a friend as a DJ, so they could bring their own DJ equipment. And then Benjamin said from where we bid that instead of the power generator stuff, they would try to get the power from the pole. So I think they have the keys and stuff like that. So so they will have to do that part. Well, most likely, if everything works out, it'll be in October. Those sites, like so, it's really putting a lot of attention to Roberto Clemente Square. I was walking there before I came here. It's a total disaster. A lot of we have to contact in a way DOT, find a way to contact DOT, and then to fix those benches. They're all torn apart. Most of them are torn apart, and then it's garbage everywhere. It's consistent like that. So that's the reason why we thought to have the cleanup consistently in the area all the time. So we know we are focusing there. We hopefully DOT people pay attention. So that's that. If anybody have any questions regarding that, let me know. So any questions? No?
You
Clarity
plan to
or-
have, let me ask a question.
Okay.
Do you plan to have, is this gonna be like a summertime event throughout the summer? That you plan to go out there and clean?
No, so the Roberto Clemente cleanup is just one day. That's in October.
In October?
That's just a 1 day thing.
Okay.
So it's just sort of like it's a major cleanup, but it's like one thing because we go 138 straight all the way to Roberto Clemente Square. So you could have like 20 people and do enough, right? Instead of having 50 people. You could do enough. We could have 10 people just going from 138 straight up, and then you could have 10 people just focusing on Roberto Clemente Square. And right now he's like doing some work. Whoever wants to help during the summer to set this up because we had to talk to community affairs as well from the NYPD to help out as well. Some of the things that you want to change is like take the area before the cleanup happens, like caution tape, something like that, and then have community affairs your name, but we want to know they have to be told a couple of months before that happens. So that's the plan. So that's why it has to be planned now. We got to tell them beforehand. So they have tape and they kind of have people not do things. Just fix what happened the last time. So, because last time there were people providing food and then the same food that was given to them, they threw it in the same place that we just cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
They were the extraction they gave me the same food somebody gave them. So like that, so we're trying to what I was told with the NYPD said that they could go there and tell people, but it's better for them for us to get community affairs and then get caution tape and put a hole around the whole area so they know something is happening. That's what they said to do. They have community affairs involved and get them involved like 2-3 months beforehand. So that's that. So yes.
All I have to say about that is similar to what you just said. I'm experiencing this at our garden.
Yes.
We clean up that area every morning. And by the afternoon, it's all dirty all over again. Okay, so I think I agree with, we are the environmental committee, and I agree with trying to make things look correctly and cleaning up. That part is good, but I don't know if I'll work, I'm sorry to say, but I feel sometimes like if I'm putting water in a bucket with a hole in it.
Like quicksand.
That's what it feels like sometimes. Every day we clean up around,
Yeah.
and every day it's dirty. See, so, and I know, like you just explained, at the Roberto Clemente Square, we'll clean up in there, and like you said, it's gonna be dirty all over again, and probably for the very same food as that we give out, because people just don't believe in using the receptacle, and they just don't seem to hit it, they just don't care. Okay, so I agree with the efforts and so forth, but I feel that I'm at a point where I feel that some kind of direct enforcement has to start happening. And of course, excuse me for jumping up slightly ahead of the agenda towards the old business. I am still in the battlefield of the dog feces situation. Okay? I want the law to start to get enforced. They were very strict when I was a kid around here. If a person didn't pick up after their dog, but that's the law today. Okay? If you don't pick up after your dog, they got a summons. When I was a kid, they were so strict, they had a right to pound that dog and take it away from you. That's how strict they were. Okay? I know at this day and age, we can't do that. That might start a whole civil war. Okay? But all I'm saying is that that's exactly what we're going to be working on next. I want the law environmentally to get enforced. Because in other areas, if you go to Central Park, the Columbus Circle area, the museum area, they wouldn't dare put their dog, because the law does get enforced. They'll get a good $200 fine. Why can't we enforce that in our district? So I'm in a constant battlefield with that. To be honest with you, I'm going to confess something to you now. You have suggested a survey situation where you gave me the link and everything. Caesar, my apology. Let me apologize ahead of time. I find it difficult to, in the middle of the street, start taking out my phone, start taking pictures, because the idea is that I got to take a picture of it, then we have to put in the link and put the address and everything.
No, yeah, okay.
I myself find that a little bit cumbersome. I do. I'm not gonna lie. I guess I should be a little bit more. I guess the youngsters weren't gonna find it that cumbersome. But to have to in the middle street, in the middle of the rain, it's windy, it's cold, this and that. Have to take out my phone, start taking pictures. Then I have to start printing out the address of the street. I found that, I'm sorry, a little bit difficult to do. Okay, and I understand your idea of presenting a survey of the statistics in order for us to really start getting moving with what we're expecting from the system. But my thing is that beyond that, this is illegal. I don't care if it's only done once. I don't care if it's done 100 times. Okay, it's an illegal act. So I don't think that should make a big difference in the long run. Okay, if you have a dog, you should be responsible for that dog. You should have your little poop paper or that you pick up. I see people doing it though, but not enough of them are doing it. It's disgusting. Walk all around the district, okay? And when it rains, you have to start tiptoeing so you don't get that mess in your shoes and everything. It's terrible. In the summertime, some of the streets start to stink and smell too. Well, let's not go there because it's still. But that's so my battlefield continues with trying to get feces away from our streets in our district. It's gonna be a long battle because unfortunately it has been ignored for a long time. Okay, if it would not have been ignored, it would not have gotten to this point, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, so that's sort of the next thing, November sanitation charrette, so that, people know what a charrette is, right?
What is what?
A charrette.
No, explain that, please. Sanitation charrette.
Yeah, you know what a charrette is?
What is that?
You know, John? Okay. So what it is like it's like a plan, right? So you have a certain problem, and then you have meetings that you invite stakeholders. You invite people that are being affected by it, and a variety of people, agencies as well, that have to be responsible for it. And then at the end of those meetings, they have to be 3 to 4 goals or whatever people decide that should be met by people in the community and by city agencies. So it's a planning tool. So the idea is to have a sanitation charrette in November. Have like what's the friends. I'm blanking out. Huh? No, the one that had economics. China. Sorry, I'm blanking out. So China does things she works on something called circular economy. So circular economy is something that treats waste and then recycles the waste and then it reduces waste over time in the cycle. So that's what she's studying. So I was talking to her, and I also study a little bit of economics and a little bit of sanitation stuff. So we were just having the conversations, and then I said we should have a charrette in which like we invite city agencies that are responsible for these things, invite stakeholders, even homeless people on the streets, anybody that has a say in this thing. Uh, but then it takes some time. You know, you have to do a lot of outreach and stuff, and then having a facilitator that understands how to do a charrette, because a lot of times people come in to just complain. A charrette is not about complaining. A charrette is about talking about the different problems that you have and then finding solutions towards it. So that's how it's done in planning. So the end result is like, let's say you have three goals, a vision that has to be met, and three goals that have to be achieved by the community, by city agencies, whoever will say in the meeting. So everybody has the opportunity to give their ideas, give their complaints, and not complaints, but give what's the problem, provide ideas on how to solve the problem, and who's going to do it. You could have city agencies with gas, and do they have capacity for these things? And then those questions will be asked, and also not have how you say, not have one group tell everybody what to do. It's more like have an equal balance of conversation. Because I've been to meetings and I've been to things like this, in which are there are organizations that come in and they are like they come in and they say, this is our vision, this is our mission, this is what I want the community to accomplish. That's totally wrong. It shouldn't be doing that. So it's a community effort to figure out how to do this and how to take responsibility and stuff like that. So that's where you require people that are very knowledgeable how to do this. So everybody's heard, you know, and then so usually in meetings they have somebody has to step back, and then some people have to be up front. Whoever likes to talk a lot should step back. Whoever talks the least should be in front. Should be given preference first. And things like that. That's the way some of these charrettes are run. But then, so that's not gonna work with China and two other people to figure out. Maybe we might have to get maybe the Hunter College or the urban planning program, and they can facilitate the charrette because I went to the school to facilitate this. Or you could have another organization that knows how to do this, and then because we don't want to do this and not have the proper information, and then people are not heard, and then people can, you know, we don't want to ask the problem. We just want to have solutions, but it's community-based solutions. So you could have enforcement stuff as well. You want that as enforcement, and everybody decides collectively that's what should be done as one of them. That should be listed as well. But it's not me deciding. It's the group deciding, having a consensus of what should happen. And then, so in other places, this has to be done in other cities as well, in other communities. That the community gets together, and then they talk to each other. They might argue with each other, things like that. But at the end of the day, it has to be a consensus of what could be done and what's feasible. The main one is feasibility, right? The second one has to be timing, right? Second one has to be timing, and the third one has to be who's able to enforce it, right? So that's why the city agencies have to be there, and they're not allowed to talk. They could inform people, but this is a community is telling them what should happen. So that's the thing with the November sanitation, right? I'm thinking November, but it might end up in January the way these things go, right? Because it's a lot of work. You have to have the space. You have to have as many stakeholders as possible, and diversity of stakeholders. Now the usual suspect that I see all the time at events. Like it's the same people that see in the organizations, and for the last 20 years. So you just hear the same thing over and over. So you have to be able to do not make an effort to get as many people that from diverse views that know that are from the neighborhood, that know what's happening, and they put the effort to find solutions, not complaining, solutions. That's what I should read that. So the first one, usually sometimes they do three of them. But the first one, the introduction, what's the problem, statistics, what's going on, right? They could have city agencies, things like that, and some ideas that they come from, and then because you're not going to have all the solutions in one day, so we're just going to brainstorm things like that. And then the second one is more like if everything goes well, the second one would be that everybody has a consensus as to they said it's 10 of them, but they have to pick three that are feasible that everybody could do, and they do it. They do it. There's some of them have it done like that. So that's the idea for that, for the shred to deal with all these issues. So if anybody have any questions, you have an opportunity to ask right now. Or maybe that's
No questions, but I can say I can connect you with somebody from the department of urban planning in the college, since I am a student there, and I have taken urban studies classes. I can connect you with folks. So I'll be happy.
well, who is your professor?
This was 2 semesters back. I totally don't know his name, but I have his email and information. I can send it to you.
Okay. So before I'm an alumnus of we.
Yeah.
I went to Hunter.
Yeah.
Urban planning.
Urban planning?
Yeah, that's what I graduated. Yeah, so try to get them from there because they do advocacy work. Yeah, I won't go to the other schools because they don't do a lot of advocacy work.
I know City College does.
City, yeah. Well, they're more like city tech.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Yes.
Why don't we do something, now Hunter is part of CUNY, they're one of the oldest ones in CUNY, they actually are. But would you like to work with, I know Hostess Community College is right in our district. And you have a student government and you do have students doing activities. They have environmental courses there. Okay, so maybe there are, maybe we could reach out to that. We have, well, Woody Park College is already out of our district, right? It's in the neighborhood, but you have Metropolitan College. That's a private one, but I know they have urban planning courses there too. And courses about, that students take regarding urban situations. Maybe we can have, some, and I'm talking about these because they are right in our district.
Yeah,
So I wonder if reaching out, and if you reach out, I mean, hey, you can reach out to anybody you want, which I think is great. I think you should go ahead and get in touch with Hunter, that's your alma mater, and I'm sure that you're much more familiar with that aspect, but, hey, they're part of CUNY. Hostess is part of CUNY also, see what I'm saying? So I wonder if that could be a direct link right there.
Yeah, they most likely they will be one of the stakeholders.
Okay,
They will have to be one of the stakeholders. So because the sanitation issue is not only people, it's also businesses and institutions. In this neighborhood, like MCNY, we have trash issues as well
yeah.
around the area. So they also that's the reason why all the stakeholders, everybody that has that is in this community. Yeah. So MCNY more likely to reach out to them for space. The old space that we used to have where we used to have meetings. Remember? The community board meetings?
Yeah.
Like that space right there, to me it's good to have like a charrette. You have invite community members to sit there and then have maps. That's the reason. And also who has resources and capacity. So the only reason why I mentioned Hunter is because I graduated from there. So I know some of the faculty and I know some of the things that they do and and they do this kind of stuff as well as part of their urban studies and their well, that just me, but you're right. If Hostels has people that's able to facilitate this, because this is, like I said, facilitation, no, this is very tricky because he had to be able to make sure that people are not all over the place. That there's the strict rules, and then like we are here to solve problems. We're not here to complain and tell people this is there for. We're here to for solutions and be there for that. So that's why you need somebody that has a lot of experience on that to be able to deal with diversity of crowds. Because a homeless person, that stuff might, blame a business or might blame us per se. Like we have money, this is we have a house, right? They have to me, some people be like, a homeless person should be here, especially people in that area. At the Community Square, they should be there. Even if they're saying bad things, whatever, they're saying like, oh, I gotta throw the trash, but that's information, and they would know that people are paying attention. So that's part of advocacy. So you have there's different planning kind of tools. So also you have what's the name? I think it's called Power Two. It's like a figuring out who has the power in a particular area. So then you figure out, like say, those people that know who has power, so they say the mayor, or maybe somebody from the community board, maybe somebody that does not anything but in politics, but that person is known throughout the community. There are people like that. That they're not known throughout the community. They don't want to get involved with politics, but they are known in the community. They should also be involved. That's the reason for the charrette. But right now it's just a brainstorming stage, right? So if you want to get involved here, you could email me, and I'll let you into the meetings to have a meeting. And some of these discussions might happen in the summer. So get involved, bring ideas, and then, well, like I said, the major one that they have is a couple of facilitators that's able to jot down all the information, because they also have to all the information that the people have, they have to be summarized. They have to be put in a report, and then summarized. And then in the next meeting, if we have two or three. Let's say you have two, and in the next meeting you have to summarize what everybody said. And then probably that's the third one. We say we have to vote on 3 to 4 things that should happen, and then go from there. So that's the idea for a charrette. I wanted to do this before, but then it was like, no final questions? I didn't.
No.
Okay. So that's that for future events. So that's more in the summer. If people want to get together, do some cleanups in the summer, I'm down for it, right? So we don't have to have like 30 people. We could just do one spot, one area, get together, right? And the other events is more like education stuff. A lot of people have misunderstanding of energy issues in climate change, climate justice stuff. So like education on that as well. As you know, we have more rainy days, so that's going to happen more, because our climate here is no longer temperate. It's semi-humid tropical. It has changed. NOAA has changed the destination of New York City mainly New York City, to semi-tropical. Humid semi-tropical. That's the reason why it rains more. It's going to rain more.
So do you think this summer we're gonna have a lot of rain?
It might rain more, yes. Because they changed to humid semi-tropical. So when it's semi-tropical, it tends to rain more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to affect businesses.
That's why
That's going
we're
to
getting all
affect
this rain.
trash as well, because a lot of
Oh, that's why we're getting all this rain.
yes, the climate issues. So then, so if people have ideas of events, we're going to hear it out. So we do have our Google Doc format. Any ideas and stuff, or basically do. It doesn't have to be like big events. It's something like that we are out there doing something. It could be at the garden, Archie. You could say Caesar or John or
David.
right.
David.
Huh?
You-
No, I could. Haley's coming.
Elijah,
Elijah.
all the members.
Yes. So guys,
Haley, Elijah, Imani, all the EJ team. That's what I'm looking at.
Matthew. Yeah. Yeah. So that any ideas, Haley? Sorry. So you have any ideas? And then the time. If you got Caesar, let's do a cleanup here. I put them clean up shoes. I have cleanup shoes, and then I clean up pants too. So let's do that and stuff like that. Any other ideas? Education for me, you want to have education regarding energy issues because climate change causes problems with energy issues. Because right now it's going to be it's more humid, it's more hotter. People are going to be using their air conditioning more, and that's going to affect electricity. So and then we try to take out the pico plants. If we don't have those there, it's going to like that's what some people didn't want to take out the pico plants because they were looking at that problem. We're going to have more energy demand because we're going to have more heat waves and more of these things happening. So so the education component. So for me, just sanitation, education. Maybe have what's the name? You have I forgot the name of the organization. I'm backing up. They are sanitation organization. So for them to talk about sanitation issues. So that and then for me to talk about electricity issues and climate issues, climate justice stuff. Yeah, and then we have any ideas or bills or whatever, give it to the learning. So we could one thing that you could do, Archie, is we could go to the policy team and say we want a poop bill to be enforced, right? To actually have a bill by the city council or the New York State Assembly, and then it could be pitched to the learning, and then we could put that as we could get somebody they're willing to do that as a bill.
Okay, my question about
Yeah,
that
something
is,
like that. But
no, I see what you're saying, but to get the bill, is it necessary to pass a bill, but it's already a law? There's already a law that says it's illegal to not pick up after your dog. It's not being enforced.
Okay.
Because the law, that's what I'm saying, is getting enforced in certain areas,
okay,
and in certain areas, it's not being enforced, okay? So so we don't really need to make it a bill, we have to, kind of emphasize, and ask the question, why isn't this being enforced
okay,
in our district? But
okay,
in other districts, it does get enforced, okay? But it's actually a law, that's the law.
okay,
Okay, so that's kind of, it doesn't matter what we do, we have, like at our garden, we put up the signs and we put up the stands with the little baggies.
Yeah.
To try to make it easy for people, it doesn't help.
yeah. I mean, the point is anything that I'm not saying that's the one. I just say anything that could be legislative,
Yeah,
like legislation or something. It could be any idea that we could keep giving to the policy team. If you want to notice over the last year or so, is like we are we are we are working too much in silos. Like the committee's doing their own things, right? And we don't know what they're doing and stuff at times. So what's the way that we could interact with other committees? And like one of them it could be a the policy group. Any idea that have to do with our stuff. So it doesn't have to be poop stuff. I just mentioned that as something. So and interacting with Stephanie with youth team, that's why I want to interact with her. So how is the way that we could interact with other committees as well? So we could have the youth team involved and then have a policy. John or Haley has any ideas of policy that should be done, and then we could pitch that to the policy group and see what they do, and they could write it out, and they could see who to send it to, things like that. So yes, I do that. Any old business? Or any questions? No? No old business? Okay. So I guess you done.
I mean, I make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
Who seconds the motion?
Go ahead and second.
I can't second it.
Go ahead and
I'm not a
second.
board member.
So,
No, you're a member here.
Oh, I second that motion.
Second, yeah, you got the. Yeah.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Discussion.
Wow, that's my first time doing that.
Okay, bye.